Hey, everybody. This is Eric.
I'm Alex.
And first of all, thank you to all of you for all your support, for the great conversations we've been watching on the medschool.it Facebook page. We love you, and we're here to answer more of your questions. And the question for today's video about medical schools in English in Italy is?
Student exchange, what is it about? How does it work?
Student exchanges. Now, on this topic between the two of us, the real expert is Alex, because Alex has gone on an Erasmus student exchange. We'll explain what Erasmus is in a moment. I have not. So he's going to really break it all down for you. But before we talk about what student exchange is, we want to tell you what it's not.
Yeah, so you have to really realize the difference, right? So a student exchange is not you transferring to a different university, completing your degree somewhere else while you're studying in Italy initially, right? So student exchange is basically spending a period of time which ranges between 1 semester to 2 years maximum in a partner university. Could be around Europe mostly. Some people manage to even go beyond. And the nice thing about it is that you actually get all your exams recognized. So you're becoming factually a student of that host university, and all the exams you take in that university will be recognized by your home university in Italy. So you go on to this experience, you get back, and you finalize your studies in Italy. That's the basic concept of students exchange. What it doesn't mean you have to find an exchange partner. So you don't need a student from that hosting university to come and swap with you for that year. That's being taken care of. There's nothing really you should worry about.
Good. So the main type of student exchange that you have with the English med schools in Italy is something called Erasmus. Now it's actually called Erasmus Plus, and it's an old program in the European Union where you have European students from different countries going to each other's countries, learning each other's languages. And this is really a cultural phenomenon in Europe. There have been movies made about Erasmus. The idea is to help unify the European Union.
Yeah. So what's so nice about Erasmus, I think, is that it is probably one of the biggest exchange programs. And whatever somebody's talking about an exchange here, it's probably an Erasmus in Europe. And the nice thing about it is that it's heavily funded. So you actually get a scholarship while you're abroad, something about around 250 euros, sometimes a little bit more. And you don't pay the fees of the hosting university. You basically continue to pay the normal tuition fees of your home Italian university. That's really nice because it doesn't require much more effort on your side.
Yes, and remember, the Italian university med schools are very inexpensive. They range between 0 and 4,000 euros a year. So, Alex, you did your Erasmus here in Deutschland.
Yeah, actually, I did. So,
and we're going to do the rest of the interview in German. just joking. So, yeah,
good try.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, for me, the Erasmus was really, a life-changing experience, you could say, because there are many reasons why people go to an Erasmus, and it's for me it was the new language, so it was an opportunity to me to learn German, the German culture, to see how the whole medical area, like career-oriented things are working for me, and get some contacts, get the foot into the door, so to say. And it was actually in Tübingen, so university in southern Germany, which I went for a year. And actually, I even came back to Tübingen once again. So I did sort of 2 Erasmus, as you can say. The second one was for a traineeship after I graduated. Yeah. So for me, it was really a plus afterwards. So whenever I was going, for example, looking for a job, which I actually found in Tübingen eventually, so that here you are, you have the direct consequences of that. Mm-hmm. That was a big plus to have been in the university, have studied there, and shown already some knowledge of contacts and how things work in there.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Tübingen is an absolutely beautiful little place with fantastic cake called Black Forest cherry cake. But of course, all of Europe has its own beautiful uniqueness about it. That's one of the great things about studying here. Now, the big question you probably have is, how do you get into an exchange program while you're a student at one of the med schools in Italy? So there is a process.
Yeah, so basically the exchange works with a partner university, which means that your home university in Italy has a sort of like an exchange contract with that partner university. And for example, Pavia has a really wide range of universities, including Paris and Germany, like in Berlin, everywhere probably. And but every university just allocates between, let's say, 2 to 5 places, sometime a little bit more, for exchanges. So you actually compete on those places. And for example, people who went to Paris had quite a big competition, despite the fact that we have, I think, 3 exchange universities with Paris, like 3 different universities there. And the competition is made in the following way. So basically, the Bando, as always, comes out. The official document about the Erasmus comes out. You apply, and then you go to a sort of selection process in which things that really matter are how high your marks were during the studies till that point, how many exams you've managed, how good is your language level, because most of the time you'll be studying in a native language of that country. So you have to demonstrate that you're actually capable of doing it. Yeah. And afterwards, you also have to show that you're motivated and some other soft criteria, I would say.
I just want to throw in here, despite the fact that there's a competition to get into various Erasmus programs, I don't know personally of any student who wanted to do an Erasmus and ended up not getting into any. In other words, you might not get into your first choice, but usually you will get into some program. Is that your experience too?
Exactly, yeah. So you can sort of rank several universities which you want to go to, and based on your performance during the selection, you will end up in one of those, which is great. Makes your chances better.
Great. And your exams are recognized, as you mentioned. And how different was the medical education in Germany, in Tübingen, compared to what you were doing in Pavia?
Yeah, so that's also like one thing you get to see, how medical studies look like in other places. For me, it was a very interesting experience. So it wasn't totally different. So you would expect maybe Germans have it in a different way. So it was surprising. They still study with lectures and they still do clinical rotations. In Germany, for example, it was more devised. So there was a stricter division between the lectures and the clinical rotations. It wasn't such a mix that like we have in Pavia. And exams were mostly written, and it was like the biggest surprise for me when I had to take basically 3 exams on the same day, basically one after the other. I was just flipping the page and the next subject exam was coming, and that was just, I don't know how people managed, but all the exams were multiple choice and were quite straightforward. So first semester for me was a bit challenging because of the language, of course. You can study all the German you want, but the academic German is always like one notch higher as a level. But the second semester was much better, and I enjoyed the city so much, and met many friends and made many connections as well. So it was really a worthwhile experience.
There are really a whole bunch of different reasons to go on an Erasmus, right? They range from having this cultural experience that you're talking about to having a different kind of academic experience. Also, you can try to go to a university where you might have a professor or a department which specializes in the thing that you're interested in, right? So, for example, if you have a university which is particularly good in ophthalmology and you want to be an ophthalmologist, you may do an Erasmus year at that university.
Yeah, exactly. So there are many reasons why people go to an Erasmus. Imagine after studying 5 years in the same university, you might want to just change scenario a bit, and it's nice and refreshing to go somewhere abroad. It's also a chance to learn this new language you can do during your studies. But for many people, it's also sort of a relaxing time. You know, I know quite a lot of guys and girls who went to Spain, I think, and just had a blast of a year there studying medicine still.
Yes, studying medicine still.
Studying medicine, but it was a nice sort of year for them.
Yeah, sure, of course. And people come to Italy too. There are Erasmus students at Pavia and Milan and all the other med schools, and you get to hang out with them. That's one of the cool things about actually doing medical school in English in Italy.
Yeah.
So our next question you probably have in your mind is, after you graduate, where can you work? Where is your degree recognized? And that subject is for our next video. So click on that when you get a chance. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our videos here. Just press this little button. Go to medschool.it and our Facebook group, medschool.it, for all of the information you need about med schools in English in Italy. As always, it's great to see you. And ciao.
Ciao.